Hello, happy Thanksgiving, and welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And indeed, we have a friend here. The other friends should be on the way soon enough. But listen, folks, we have a great show. We had some breaking news yesterday. Shuhei, one of the greatest people left at PlayStation, well, he's no longer going to be there in a couple of weeks. He is going to be leaving the company after 31 years. Shuhei is, well, last of the old guard. I mean, Hargeet and I was literally just talking about it. I have never had the chance to meet him in person, which is a shame. I've heard so many great things, and he's done so many great things for Sony and its gamers, millions and millions of gamers over the years. It's certainly sad to see him go. Interestingly enough, he is not retiring. He is just leaving Sony. So we're gonna have some conversation of whether or not that is a forced leave or he's leaving on his own accord because he's not retiring. I got some thoughts and theories as to what he should do next and who should pick up the phone. But that's not the only topic we're going to have. Now, last couple of years, we've been doing a tradition here at Primetime Gaming because it's the last show before the holiday. And we always, have a nice, fun conversation with the chat and the people listening. Even if you're not a part of the chat, you can listen. You can, yell your answer out into the ether. Maybe somebody will hear it. But we like to do what we're thankful for in gaming. I love that because it's simplistic, it's fun. Everyone's gonna have a different answer or answers. But Hargeet, what's up, brother? How's everything?
Yeah, it's good. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. For those in the U.S. who celebrate, I don't know if everybody else in the world wants to as well. Go for it. But yeah, we got that nice little drop. It was like 7:30 last night. It was kind of crazy. Like, holy crap, really? But yeah, pretty big news. We'll discuss.
Yeah, we will get into it. And again, Hargeet, Case should be with us momentarily. He's had one heck of a day, but I just talked to him literally through text, so he should be here momentarily. But look, you know what? Let's get right into it because obviously there's a lot to talk about. Now, I pulled this from one of Twitter's finest, and that's Hazardor Gaming. I mean, again, the guy is consistently just dropping news bomb after news bomb. He's one of the first ones to get the news. I don't know if he has friends in the industry, but he is like super on point. Well, we learned yesterday, like Hargeet was saying, it was probably around 7:30 last night that Shuhei Yoshida is leaving PlayStation on January 15th. He's not retiring from the industry, but he's leaving Sony Interactive Entertainment. And I have the PlayStation blog in front of me. And it says, it says all good things. A look back at Shuhei Yoshida's 31 years with PlayStation. And look, again, I'm not going to go and read the entire blog post because I will attach it in the show notes if you want to read it yourself. He was on a podcast, or the PlayStation podcast. I actually saw him, like, hey, everyone, please listen to it. I would imagine he's going to go into more thought-provoking details. But Hargeet, look, Kay's here. Hold on just a second. Kay, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Good evening. Unfortunately, today's a camless day for me.
That is okay, brother. You're here, so that's all that matters.
I've had quite the day, and I appreciate you starting the conversation. No, I'm happy to be here. This is a respite from an otherwise unfavorable day on my part. No, it's all good.
Yeah, and folks, if you didn't know, this poor man, because he's getting older like this bastard right here, he pulled his back out, folks, right before the holiday, which sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you're feeling better, kind sir.
Gray beards are us. It is what it is. What are we gonna do? It's fine. I'm getting better though. I can sit down properly for a while now.
Well, at least there's that. I mean, so when you can sit down and have your turkey tomorrow, and whatever. That's all that matters. But yeah, I mean, Kay, it's interesting. We were about to get into the Shuhei Yoshida story yesterday when we were talking on the phone. I'm like, we're just gonna do the yearly what we're thankful for. There's not gonna be any news to drop, and this is news. Hargeet, look, there are big changes happening at PlayStation as we speak. The dominoes have been falling for quite some time. I honestly believe, and again, this is not console war rhetoric. This is just, let's just read the room. They're just not the same PlayStation they were from a couple of years ago. And it's not that they don't know how to be that PlayStation. Has been a lot of dysfunction. There has been a lot of big decisions made. There were some decisions, I think, that were shot from the hip. And I really believe the Bungie acquisition is one of those shot from the hip. We got to do something. Activision is going to be bought by Microsoft. We need to do something. And they did it. And that has not paid off for Sony. Obviously, some decisions were made by Jim Ryan prior to his exit regarding, AAA single players, story-driven content that most players on PlayStation appreciate. I'm one of those players. I like that content. I like their stories. I like their, again, to each is everyone's own. Some people are going to be like, oh, boom, but it's very samey. They all look the same with a different character. That's, what? If that's not your bag, that's fine. But that's why I have a PlayStation. And if you look at some of the decisions, Hargeet, that's come up in the last couple of, last year, last 18 months, even the last 24 months, since the announcement of the ABK acquisition, Sony has been in a bit of a tailspin. And now we learn that after 31 years, and listen, let's call a spade here. 31 years at one company is a very long time. And to be quite fair, I don't think anyone's done it better than Shuhei Yoshida. I mean, he has been the guy. He was obviously literally infamous, if you will, with this is how you share games, right? Like that literally, him handing it over to the boys, right? What was his first name?
Something boys.
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about.
Do you remember? I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name, but it's fine. I know that everyone knows exactly.
Of the tongue, man.
Yeah, we know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me go to the chat. The chat is always a lot smarter than we are.
Adam Boys.
Adam Boys. That's it. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes. And obviously, look, he has been a steadfast individual and leader at PlayStation. And that's coming to an end. I know that there's going to be some people, especially, look, each community has, undesirables that just use every piece of news for console war rhetoric and just hate. And Xbox has plenty of those characters. We're not going to name names here because we don't do that on this channel, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think it's doom and gloom for PlayStation because Shuhei is leaving. Shuhei, unfortunately, in the last couple of years, was kind of sent to the minors, where he was in charge, and then they kind of moved him out of being in charge and making big decisions to dealing with indies, and he did very well there. But that's not where his forte was. So he's leaving. He's not retiring. I'm going to say this, and obviously, I want you to just take the ball and run with it, Hargeet. But look. You saw up on my thumbnail the picture with him and Phil. If I'm Phil Spencer, I don't know what Shuhei has lined up. I don't know, folks, if he was shown the door or he politely walked through it. We don't know anything. We know that he's leaving after 31 years. He's made it clear he's not retiring, that he wants to stay within the industry. He loves the gaming industry. Well, look. It's safe to say that we know a lot of what Microsoft is doing, especially in the East. They are pushing their way into the East in a big way. It is a market that notoriously acts as if Xbox does not exist. They have, I think, 1 or 2% of the market. It's egregious how poorly that they do there. But to be fair, once again, folks, there was a lot of buzz that came out of Tokyo Game Show 2024. Now, granted, there were folks in our circles here in the States that graded the show low, which is fine. But that you have to understand, that show wasn't for me. It wasn't for Hargeet, Kayasante, or the nearly 350 people here. unless you're from Japan, unless you're from that side of the world. It was for Japanese gamers who might find something on Xbox that they like because they're catering to that audience. I think that Phil Spencer should pick up the phone and offer Shuhei Yoshida a position to help forward their plans in Japan and further out into the East. Hargeet, let's talk about Shuhei Yoshida leaving after 31 years.
So let's first just start with that part, right? There's a whole bunch of other discussions to have about Xbox and potentials there. But I guess looking at PlayStation, right, most of their like senior leadership is gone now.
Yes.
And that's changed over the last few years. Some of them were like just let go. They were fired. Some of them have retired, and then some of them are just leaving. So it's an interesting time there. I don't know if you can just assume that anybody's just leaving. You have to also look at the story arc here, and he ran PlayStation for a while, then got sort of like sidelined. He stayed, went to the indie side, whatever, but he might have been saying, well, gee, when it was running under me, it was working pretty well. You gave it to these other dudes, and see where it is now. I mean, maybe you should have given it back to me. Just saying, and maybe that didn't work out. Just thinking about the internal politics of it. How long do you keep going? Along with that, I don't know if he even agrees with the direction they're going in. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't.
Right.
And because he's certainly the old guard, right? He's got the old mindset. He was driving, PlayStation when it was in its massive ascent, right? So, what do you do with that? You might just say, hey, it's it. I guess we lost Keisante. That maybe like there's some turmoil there. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. Either way, he or the company felt it was time to part ways, and he's not done. He's like 60-ish. So it's like, I don't know how old Jim Ryan is, but I think he's around the same thing, maybe even less. And like, it's kind of interesting that they're all just kind of leaving, right? Well, they could like just say, I've made enough money, I don't care, right? He's obviously saying, no, I'm going to continue going. Now, if you're this guy, there's two options. You could find like a cush little thing where you can just, veg, do a little, work here and there. I don't know if somebody at that level is kind of like that. They usually aren't. If you rise to that level, you usually have that like 18th gear, like just have to keep going. That's just the kind of person they usually are. I don't know if this guy is, but generally when you have that kind of personality, that's how you end up at that CEO level. I don't think he's going to want to go with like, I'm just going to go like, do a little side thing and maybe market for somebody. I don't see that happening. I think he'll want to see level something, right? He's going to want to be a C, whatever it is. Right.
Right.
So where would that work? It would have to be a big publisher, a big other company, right? Now he could go to some adjacent things, some other technology altogether. We don't know. It doesn't have to be in the gaming world. It could be, but he says he wants to stay in this world. So if he wants to stay in this world, where are you going to go that's going to be like that big? Well, there aren't that many places. Now, look, it could be, say, you know what? Konami. Konami's trying to get back into this world, isn't it?
Tencent.
And it's kind of at the, right? Tencent has been getting a lot of these kind of folks, right? They have Sean. Like you could look at something like that, right? And say, yep. Hey, like one of those companies is saying, hey, why not? Let's go bring him in. He's got all these contacts. Maybe he can help us expand our horizons, get some more studios, get some deals for us. We can make this work better. That's a potential, right? I don't know if they're looking for that. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, right? You could say Nintendo. Nintendo is going to have a shift over the next, say, decade or so as their aging executives kind of, go away. Unfortunately, that's going to happen. So what do you do, right? Maybe that's a potential path. I don't know. Maybe it is. But they probably also have a line of succession. And Nintendo is just this weird company where even though some of the key people have left or died, they just keep doing the same thing extremely well.
Yeah.
And that's really unheard of, but they do it. And it's a creative art. It's very hard to do, but they keep doing it. And it just keeps working. So good enough. Whatever formula they have, it's working. Cool. So maybe they don't want to muck with that. Then you have the potential, of course, of Xbox. And Microsoft could sit there and say, well, we kind of don't have anybody to run an operation out there, right? This was the Tango problem. Okay, we can take on Tango. Who's going to manage that studio?
Yes.
The main people that were they left. Are we going to go hire somebody? We don't know anybody. What are we going to do with this? How are we going to do that? That was their main barrier. Like, how do you manage that? Right. But you know who does know everybody over there? Oh, this certain character just sort of just left a big company that happens to know everybody over there. It's just a convenient little factor that you could say, well, gee, if I want to expand my business there and there's somebody who's done it, maybe I could just take advantage of it. And this is a potential path for them to say, all right, if I want to expand my Japanese operations first, let's hire this guy, start something over there, say, all right, go figure out how to make this work and then talk to us, right? That doesn't mean that, hey, directly go buy this, go work with that company. Just go figure it out. Like, just start the Japanese operations for Xbox, right? You become sort of the Xbox Japan dude, right? And once you take that kind of role, then he can start figuring out what makes sense as part of the new ecosystem, right? And then say, all right, I can either just partner and bring things to Game Pass because they do have that awesome service, or I can look for acquisitions. I can look for IP that we want to work with that we own and we want to partner with people. Let's see what we can do there, right? That kind of thing. There's so many potentials there, right? It could also be acquisitions, right? And now they would have somebody that could manage it. Because what did Yoshida do over there first at PlayStation? He managed the studios. Huh. How convenient. So, gee, like, these are just great potential options, right?
Yeah.
So it's a potential that could be where he goes. It could be something totally different. I don't want to make this obviously that, right? But there are a lot of alignments here where it works both ways, right? He gets to sort of create a whole new thing, very similar to what he did at PlayStation, but at a whole different platform. And oh, by the way, this platform is changing the way gaming is working because the whole world is changing with it, right? And he's like, so they had the nice little Twitter back and forth there, and he sort of praised what Phil Spencer's doing, leading the way, right? And certainly it seems like PlayStation just announces a few years later everything that Xbox is doing. We're doing the same thing.
Dave, listen, if you're laughing, but that's been their pattern. Look, I'm sorry.
It has been their pattern.
Please don't come for me, but that's been the case.
It has. And so, like, okay, so, maybe that is a potential option. If I had to guess, he probably has something lined up, and it's not Xbox. But there's a good potential that it could be Xbox. And it would behoove Phil to make the call. Just call them up and see what they can do with that. And if there is a potential there, why not? Right? This would start setting up the Japan path for them. And then a few years out, you'd start seeing some of the potential fruit of that. I wouldn't expect something immediately, but because he's gonna have to learn the sort of the business of what Xbox is trying to do and how to make that work, right? But either way, this is a very good potential, but he doesn't have a long runway, right? He's already 60, so you kind of need like the next 5, 10 years at best.
Yes,
to kind of get what you get from him, and then he's just gonna retire anyway. So this is an interesting pick. It's just an interesting person that's just become available. I don't know what happens, right? There are people that go between these companies. It happens, so we'll see. It is a potential. But it is very interesting that everybody over there is changing out, right? PlayStation is kind of just really cleaning house. Is that they want to change their methodology? Was he like the last one saying, no, we have to keep our games on PlayStation only and all that? Maybe he was. I don't know. I have no idea, right? So if that was the thing and they're like, nah, we're just going to go day and date PC and we're even going to put stuff on Xbox and Switch and not worry about it. Like 5 years later, we'll put it on the other platforms. Who cares? Right. And like, just get more money out of it. Right. And that kind of thing. Hey, maybe that's the path. And like, maybe he was the last of the old guard saying no. All right. So who knows? Right. But hey, it is an opportunity for Xbox. But I don't know. What do you think, KSL?
Honestly, when I heard the news, I was kind of shocked because I wouldn't think I would think that if he was leaving PlayStation, he'd be retiring.
Yes.
Right. So to hear that he's not actually retiring, and in fact he's still going to be in the industry now, intrigues me to the concept of what happened to get him to walk out the door, whether by choice or not. Right. It's very intriguing, very interesting. I look forward to the eventual hit pieces that'll come out eventually about what happened here. It'd be interesting to know the backstory there. But I honestly, to be honest, I think we should spend a bit of a moment basically celebrating this man, because to me he's basically PlayStation Classic. Like,
Indeed.
He's the last of a dying breed, you know. He's part of the great executives of their day that were able to do it in a very classy kind of way, but still maintain competitive edge, right? You heard that in the boardroom he was a shark, but in public he was like the coolest cat. Like, people will still talk about how cordial he is when you meet him. So, you know, I think it's unfortunate that the new PlayStation doesn't have charisma like he used to, right? That he used to exude and bring to the brand, right? At this point, you know, it's unfortunate to see where he is. It is interesting to think about where you could find him in a few years. Is he even as you were saying, Hargeet, is he even at the age where he's willing to start anew on a new platform? Like, or must he come with certain requirements before he'll even entertain the idea, right? So, I mean, he clearly has thrown an overture out there saying he's still in the industry, right? So obviously that's you saying I'm still in the game, son. You know, here's the resume. So that's good, you know. But the question is, you know, while Mr. Chinese over here salivating, rubbing his hands together, maybe that's not what he wants to do. You know, we don't know what the next page of his life is, right? We don't know what kind of impact he wants to have. He could be like a Resi Fizeme type, where he just like goes around town giving speeches and kissing babies and shaking hands, making all that money, right?
Money doing it too,
right? Yeah. Exactly, right. So we don't know. I would say, you know, a small console-loving part of my soul does wish that what Hargeet is speculating does come true, because that would be like something for the ages. And I bet that wouldn't be on anybody's bingo card. Like, nobody would have guessed that one. That would have been just like, wow. So yes, just for the sheer like shock factor alone, I want that to be so true. But yes, it's intriguing. It's super intriguing that he's leaving at the time he's leaving, right? As you were saying, Hargeet, with all the changes going on in the business, as it were, right? Is he part of the old guard that was keeping everybody at bay? Hey, who knows, right? Like, it's just very intriguing that they're all kind of shaking the way the business is. But I look forward to seeing where he goes next. I hope it's as interesting as we hope it is.
I mean, look, let's put the cards on the table here. The one thing that, you know, he's going to be 60 if he's not already 60, right? Yeah. He's not going to be doing the world traveling as he used to do back in the days, and I don't think Xbox or Microsoft would require require that type of service of him. He's in Japan. It is a market that they are pushing into. Now, is it going to be successful? Well, that depends on how quickly they get a handheld out into the masses, what games they decide to bring back, and who, in fact, is going to lead the charge there. Just looking at Shuhei's resume and how you were saying that he's a shark in the boardroom, but a complete gentleman, out in the masses, that's a double-sided coin, and that's what you want. You know, obviously, Hargeet, and I'm going to bring this back to you. The handheld market has exploded since the G Cloud, and then obviously you had the Steam Deck, which is the originator of it all, and now you have the ROG Ally, and you have a bunch of others. Well, the Switch 2 is around the corner. I don't think Nintendo needs any help on selling the Switch 2, because they didn't need help selling the Switch 1. They, like you said earlier, even when people pass on and someone takes and steps into that position, They just keep something about Nintendo. You can call it magic, you can call it the standard, you can call it the playbook. Nintendo is always going to Nintendo. Now, we saw them fall off the track a bit with the Wii U, right? Because obviously no one knew what the hell they were doing. Is it the Wii? Is it the U? Is it Play School? Is it a tablet? Can I take it on the go? They were kind of stuck in the middle, and that's why that thing sold only 10 million copies, because it just no one got it. And then the Switch comes out, and they're right back to being, like like the Wii U never existed. They went from the Wii right to the Switch, and it's a winner chicken dinner. So I don't think he shows up there. I think, and again, folks, I know I'm going to get pushback on this, but I think if you just read the room, who needs him more? It's not Tencent. It's not Konami. It's certainly not EA or any other American companies. It's Microsoft. It's Xbox. And when I say they need him, I'm not saying that if he goes and does some sort of a charity thing, or he just goes around to colleges in Japan speaking about the industry and they pay him a bunch of money. That might be what he wants to do. We see that happen here with U.S. presidents all the time. They get out of office, like Obama's a perfect example, and they pay him millions of dollars to go speak at a college, and people love to hear what he has to say. Maybe that's what he does, but I think that the ringer or the teller here, Hargeet, is after the announcement of him leaving PlayStation after 31 years, it was followed up immediately with, "But I'm not retiring." So I think that's kind of ringing the dinner bell, so to speak. Like, hey, folks, I'm not going off to the pasture to die here. I still got some gas left in the tank. Let's go. And I think that when you look at Xbox, look, is Xbox ever going to be a third in Japan? Meaning that, you're going to have Nintendo with their section, and they're going to have a third, and PlayStation's going to have their third. Oh, look at this, Xbox, Shuhei, third. I personally don't think so. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't push into the East to try and get consumers who are mobile consumers.
Yeah. The funny thing is, as far as being part of the store, it might be in a Switch or a PlayStation box, but Xbox games are going to dominate every store everywhere because they just happen to have the biggest games.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. So they will be there. Their games will be there, right? But will it be in an Xbox, box, right? For an Xbox console? That's a different question. Look, you're right. There's, as far as the match from a Xbox's perspective, it's pretty good, right? There is the high potential of somebody like that being able to help Xbox a lot more. The question is, is that what Yoshida wants? I don't know, right? This is all the question is, what does he want to do? And if it's, hey, I want that challenge, and maybe that's why he left. Is like, well, if you're not going to give me PlayStation again, well, I don't want to keep doing indies. Like, it's cool to go get baby steps, but I don't care. Like, why am I not, like, why Nishino? Why not me? Right? Why is it him? Like, so you could have that question, right? And say, like, you took my seniority. I was the CEO. You took me, bumped me down. Now you need somebody. You don't even look at me. You go to somebody else. It could just be that. It could really just be that, right? I don't know if you saw the Jaffe thing, right? Jaffe had a pretty nice little, like tribute. I don't know what kind of, but not like a commentary on where PlayStation is, and then what all he did there, and that was great, and to hell with PlayStation. And so I don't know if you saw what he said, but basically it had that tone of like F PlayStation.
Wow.
And you were awesome there, and you gave me a lot of opportunities, and when we worked together, it was fantastic. And they've lost a great person. That's on them. Blah blah blah. Which to me, hints like it's more like they're kicking him out.
That's what it sounds like.
There was a conflict.
Yes.
Right. Or there was a conflict. Right. And why I say that is, as much as you might not realize this, Jaffe still has a lot of internal resources over there that talk to him. Right. Because he was a legend. Let's just face it. He was a legend in that company. Yeah. Right. So he's got a lot of people who talk. He has the people who talk to him. And so he gets the inside scoop. He knows what's going on. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if Yoshi was talking to him. So, it is what it is, right? So this is the kind of thing that kind of gives you hints of what's happening in the background. And if you get fed up enough, maybe that's it. Maybe he's like, you know what, you're not giving me opportunities. I'm gonna go out there. And if he hasn't already lined something up, then maybe he could line something up. Now here's another little headache, right? Usually companies like this have these non-disclosure agreements and non-compete agreements, right?
Right.
So you have to deal with those. Like, I don't know how long he may not be able to do anything if he was to go to somebody like Xbox, right? That might be locked out, right?
Well, it's
Or
certainly
they have to work around
PlayStation,
it.
and that's what they do with their
So-
exclusive games, right? Getting into Game Pass. So I would imagine
And that's just
they-
a game, right? As far
Yeah.
as an executive going to a competitor, this was what Lino Khan was trying to get rid of, right? Was the non-competes, and I believe, if I remember correctly, it got overturned and it is back, right? I think the courts said, nah, you can't really block that. So I don't know if there is one, and if that blocks him from doing something with Xbox for a period. I don't know what that period is, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, right? So again, these are kind of just things that have to work through. He obviously has no need for money. That's not a problem, right? He's going to be a millionaire, obviously, right? Guy's been working at his CEO level, C level, whatever, for a long time. He is well off, right? So it's really a question of what does he want to do. So if all those legal headaches are not there, yeah, this could be an interesting mix as far as an enticing offer. And that's up to Phil to make, right? It's up to Microsoft to make the gesture. And, and it's got to be a nice gesture, not like just, here's a contract. Like, no, you're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to go talk to him and wine and dine and make sure that he feels comfortable. That's just the way it is, right? So if you see a trip in the near future, you might be considering what might be going on there. So, that's probably what would happen. And it'll probably have to be at Phil or Satya level to do that kind of thing. So just see like the trips, right? If somebody suddenly is coming out to Japan, there might be something going on there. But that's kind of how it's got to go, right? And maybe they do want to do something, and that would be an interesting, like, massive announcement if that happens. But hey,
would bring down the house.
why not, right? Why not?
I mean,
would it work? The question is, would it work?
I think it would work great.
And that's the big, like, so the brand is really recognized as far as PlayStation, right? It's Sony, and PlayStation's a massive brand. Will you should be able to bring that marketing capability to make that brand be recognized for Xbox. I don't know, but that is the big question mark. It's not just the industry connections. He'll get the games, he'll get all that. It's not a problem. He can manage studios, which would be a major boon for them. But can he expand Xbox in that region? Well, he certainly knows how PlayStation did it, because he did it. Right? So will that be enough? Hopefully it is. Because look, Sony is Sony. That is still a thing, right? And Microsoft is, well, Microsoft, and there's often a lot of negative to Microsoft for being Microsoft. That's just the way it is. So, and Sony can usually get more enthusiasm for being a consumer electronics company. So, hey, we will see. These are the big questions, right? And the big challenges. And we can see if that's something that he wants to take on. Usually people at that level love that. If you can say, I want you to grow my market share from the 2.5% that it is today to 15%, right? That's a huge amount for Microsoft. It's like, cool. That is a massive challenge. Take on the challenge. Do you want to do it? And people like that love those kind of things, right? Because now you have a targeted goal and you have Microsoft money. It doesn't usually get better than that, right? You have Microsoft money. Like, okay, let's go. Right? And it's not like Sony breathing down your neck. Hey, you're supposed to make our quarterly report look good. Why didn't you make this much profit? It's like, okay, you made a little profit. Yeah, we got that cloud over there, and we got that office over there, we got that Windows over there. Yeah, whatever. Good. You made some money. That's awesome, man. So it's not as big of a deal. So hey, this is an interesting one. I don't know if it happens, but hey, you're right from a Microsoft perspective. From an Xbox perspective,
a conversation
has
to
gift.
happen. Yeah,
it's a gift.
It's
like, why wouldn't
you take
advantage of it?
So real
Right?
quick, now I want. Oh my God, this. Okay, yeah, I got it. So there's a gentleman in the chat. I say gentleman. I could be wrong. Thatch in the chat. This is super interesting stuff here. Thatch, thank you for being here, brother. And this is an amazing comment. He says, "Don't forget, Xbox hired ex-PlayStation
Yeah,
executive
that's right.
Mina Sata Koto to help with Japan partnerships." Now, that's a big deal, and I don't know why she was available. Was she pushed out the door, and that's why she became available? I don't know the story with
Among
that,
the many,
but
of their
yeah,
execs.
do you remember the Connie Booth thing from last year?
Yeah. Where did
Another.
she end up, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if she ended up anywhere, to be honest with you, but I know that she
Wow.
was shown the door, and when she was shown the door, her entire
Most of
staff,
her team left.
they quit. They
Yeah.
left. They walked out the
Team
door.
left.
So that's how beloved she was. So now again, Keosante, there's a pattern forming here, right? Obviously, I don't know what Mina Satakoto, what her situation was. I don't know whether she was shown the door and she was made available, and Microsoft was like, listen, we need help in Japan, let's get her. And they did. And she works for Xbox now, which is why that move kind of made me think, that the getting a Shuhei to become a part of Xbox makes sense, right? Now it makes even more sense because they need help in Japan. They have, and again, I said 1%. It might be 2%. And I don't know if it is, but they have a minuscule position in a region where they have things in place to move into that region. And if they just had people with satire and familiarity with the people in that region, well, Shuhei, there's no one better. That guy's a diplomat for gaming. He's a diplomat for PlayStation. Again, it's a shame that he's leaving after 31 years, or whether or not he's being pushed. We don't know, and I don't want to make any assumptions here. But he specifically said, I'm not retiring, I'm leaving SIE. That kind of paints a picture for me. Now, maybe my picture is distorted, and I'm not looking at this from a console war rhetoric kind of a conversation. I'm looking at it like, hey, he didn't say he was. If you leave a place after 31 years and you say I'm retiring, he's retiring. You leave a place after 31 years and you say I want to stay in the business, I'm not retiring. That kind of says something a little different. And look, Kay, at the end of the day, he does still have a voice. He has a presence. I think that when you look at what Xbox is doing, especially in the mobile region, not just the handheld, folks. It's not just the handheld. They have King. Now, I don't know how big King is in Japan, but it is a mobile arm of Microsoft. And they have a way, if we know anything about Japan, they're non-console centric anymore. They still buy consoles, yes, but they are more PC, they are more mobile, and they are definitely into handheld gaming. I think that if you don't make the call, it's a mistake. Maybe the call has already been made, but anything else you want to add to, just again, look at how PlayStation is changing. Jim Ryan is gone. Connie Booth is gone. Again, I don't know what happened to her, but she is an ex-PlayStation executive. Mina, she's gone. Speaking to a couple of people privately, and it's just conversations. It's some thoughts and some theories. How much longer does Herman Holtz have? Because I say that not because I know anything, but he wasn't given the position solely, right? That's a little weird. They split it. It's co-CEOs. I don't know why that is, but again, if you look at what they did last, well, he's going to be forever known as Concord is our Star Wars.
And Horizon, his just to add, his latest Lego Horizon,
it's not.
looking
It's
like it's
doing terrible. So that's back-to-back fails. I don't know how much longer he has. I never advocate for anyone to lose their job. Certainly not. But the way this PlayStation is moving, I don't know, man. Any additional thoughts and theories?
Well, honestly, for me, I'm just surprised that they've still been able to keep it together as well as they have been, because, like you've identified, there's a lot going on under the covers, but still they are able to move in a way that makes their customer base still have some modicum of trust in them, right? You can say what you will about their style and their way versus Xbox's style and way, but Xbox, everyone's like, pitching a fit already because of moves that are being made. They at least know how to communicate seemingly to their customer base in a way that keeps them around and excited. So hey, good on them. I mean, honestly, I think after all of the moving and shaking is done, the PlayStation we see and the Xbox we see, for that matter, will be a completely different animal.
Yep.
Like if we'll look back on the times when they just used to be plastic boxes as quaint. They're going to really go all out and go to very unique places, both of them, right? All in their own separate way, and for those who say that PlayStation isn't doing what Xbox is doing, I'm sitting here on my PS5, on my PlayStation Portal, with my hashtag no PlayStation 5 required playing on the cloud. It's happening. There it is. So they're doing that, right? So they're all heading in the same direction. I'm very interested to see what the changing of the guard that you keep noting, what that will mean for this ultimate vision. Does it deter it, or does it expedite it even further? Depending on the new voices in the room. I look forward to checking all of this out.
I mean, look. Now there's some talk in the chat. I just want to bring this up about Shuhei saying that on this interview that he's retiring. That's not in fact the case at all, because I literally have the quote in front of me where he is leaving SIE but not retiring from the industry. I mean, I'll run the numbers again and see what stories pull up, but I'm almost positive. Yeah, look, I got it in front of me. This is literally coming from multiple VGC charts, Insider Gaming, WCCF Tech, and The Gamer. Basically, it says this: Shuhei Yoshida has announced that he is leaving PlayStation on January 15, 2025, bringing his 31-year-long career with the company to an end. Yoshida has clarified later that this is not a retirement announcement and that he would still like to work in the gaming industry once he's left PlayStation. And I quote, or end quote. So this is, if you don't believe me, I mean, all I did was a Google search, and 4 different articles popped up. So you can go and do that. And if you don't believe us, that's fine. I'm not here to make you believe us or not. It's big news. He is leaving. He is going to be 61. That is true. But at the same time, when the man says that he doesn't want to retire, that kind of tells me that he has other challenges left in his life that he wants to do. Now, does he have to spend the next 25 years at Xbox? No. He could simply spend 4 or 5 years, get them set up, and then go bounce and make a lot of money doing it. I mean, again, it's just an opinion, folks. I think it would be a great hire for Xbox for a region that they do not have even a pulse in. It would be huge for them. And look, I'm going to say this right now. It's not a death blow that he's leaving. PlayStation is going to be around 100 years after we're all gone. There are going to still be PlayStation, whether there's going to be an actual console or it's going to be the size of a nickel that you just put on top of your TV and then there's your PlayStation. Who the heck knows? But they're going to be okay. They're going to be perfectly fine. I am going to say, though, the day that Shuhei Yoshida announces that he is heading up Xbox Japan, that is going to be a bit of a dagger for PlayStation. Again, we're being, we're assuming that that's what's going to happen. We have no idea. I'm sure the call was made, but at the end of the day, only time is going to tell. I think that they are not discounting what they can still do in Japan, even though they've had a pretty 20 plus years in that region. That doesn't mean that they can't still make a dent, and all the moves they're making with cloud gaming, and this is an Xbox, which by the way apparently is something, because Tom Warren's been talking about that. He goes, it'll make more sense in a little bit. He didn't specifically say, in a day or two. He said it's going to make more sense soon. And Paris Lilly, of course, famous Paris Lilly, one-upped him on it, says, yeah, it will. So he knows something. Of course, Paris knows something. He's in the business. But look, opening salvo, I think it's a big deal that he's leaving. I don't think PlayStation is on their deathbed because he's gone. They're just making some major changes. Maybe, and I really do think that Hargeet was onto something where he believes that the change that is coming is going to be, we're just going to put our games in other places. And maybe Shuhei, who's an old cat, he's an old school cat. It's PlayStation or die, right? It's PlayStation or nothing. And that maybe that's not the direction they want to go. So maybe that's why he's being shown the door. Maybe that's why he's leaving. Maybe he's like, you know what? If my voice isn't going to be heard, I'm out. So we will certainly see. It's going to be interesting to see one. Hold on a sec. There's a Tom Brady question. Hold on. Be Nice says, kind of like when Tom Brady going to the Bucks towards the end of his career. I mean, that's a great point. He retired and he was like, yeah, you know what? I'm coming out of retirement. Like 3 weeks later, I'm playing for the Bucks. Let's go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that happened, right? So, listen, at the end of the day, it's going to be great. He is an amazing person that represented PlayStation in the best way possible. Again, I've never met the man personally. I would love to, but everything you've heard about him is he's just a proper gentleman, and he is a shark in the boardroom, which is awesome. But before we get to the second half of the show, this is the fun part, because there's a lot to be thankful for in gaming, especially in 2024. I know there's a lot of people, certain websites will go unnamed about how terrible of a gaming year this is. Folks, I don't know about what these fine folks, and I use that term loosely, are talking about. It's been one heck of a year for me for gaming. I don't know so much about you, but before we get to that, I do want to thank the 4 super chats that came in here. Will Broke Boy Lewis drops in a very generous $5 super chat and says, missed your gaming last night. Boom. Yeah, brother. Just fell asleep. I'm sorry. Did you see Ecstasies is reporting the PlayStation 5 port of Forza Horizon 5 was delayed because they're working on a PS5 Pro version. I didn't see the PS5 Pro version of his tweet, maybe because I just it's been a day. It's been super busy. But Forza Horizon 5, I mean, look, I'll say this. I know a lot of people love Gran Turismo, but Polyphony is just not the same dev anymore. They just haven't been in years. If PlayStation gamers get their hands on Forza Horizon 5, well, they're never going to probably touch Gran Turismo again, because I know they're two different races. One's an arcade, one's a sim, but Forza Horizon 5 is tip of spear. I'm sorry. It's the best racer ever made. The only couple that I like move towards close to it, for me, not for you, for me, Burnout 3, Paradise is phenomenal, still an amazing game. And Need for Speed Most Wanted, a launch title on the Xbox 360, one of my favorite Need for Speeds of all time. But that is where I put those. To me, Forza Horizon 5 is just one of the best racers ever made. Continues to be, still years after its original launch, one of the best racers on the market. That's saying something. Nino Vistic, our good friend all the way from Hawaii, who we got a chance to, me and Will were playing with him on Black Ops, and we got a lot of W's, man. We were doing some damage. Definitely got to get back to that. By the way, speaking of Call of Duty, Double XP has started. It was today, tomorrow, all through the weekend. I gained 6 levels this afternoon because it's Double XP. Why not? Get your shooting on, if you will. And by the way, there is a raccoon character if you're into that kind of stuff. It kind of looks like Rocket Raccoon, but except human wearing a raccoon head, which I don't know so much about. But I'm playing as a vampire. She's dope. But RC Polygons. Well, first of all, Nino Vistic has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership. Please, if you did get the membership from this man, let him know with a thank you in the chat. We definitely appreciate his generosity. RC Polygons drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I don't think Shuhei would like to work for Xbox because he is old guard. Probably wants to focus on exclusives, but the rest of Xbox doesn't do that. I mean, that's a thought. I mean, if that's how he was, and he's like, yeah, it's exclusives or I'm out the door, maybe he doesn't want to work for Xbox. But I don't think that would be his position in Japan. It would be setting up acquisitions. It'd be setting up targeting studios that he knows of to bring those games to Xbox. And probably through Xbox Game Pass. That would probably be his position, and it would be I'll put it this way: if he wanted a challenge, trying to get Xbox to be relevant in Japan, that's a heck of a challenge because they've failed at that for 2 decades plus. And the fact that they have 1% of the market in Japan after all these years, well, that tells you that they're just not moving the needle, and they need help. And he would be a huge, massive help for that. Our good friend Sir X-Man, what's going on, brother? Welcome. It's great to see you here. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, PlayStation Lena Khan, yeah, she's gonna need a job. I don't know if she would fit there. She'd probably bankrupt the company with some of her decisions. But listen,
Boom, do you get Wilbrook Boy Lewis $2, the CD Keys one?
I did not. It's not showing up for me. Let me see if I could find it. Hold on just a second. Let me see. Where are you? Oh, yep. Oh no, I got Sir X-Men. That one didn't show up. If you could read it, that would be awesome.
Okay, Wilbrook Boy Lewis $2. CD Keys has 3-month Game Pass Ultimate subs on sale for $28.
Well, there you go. That's less than that's 9 and change per month. Listen. Stack them up, folks. It's Black Friday is in 2 days. This is the best time of the year for subscriptions, for games, both digital and physical. You probably do better on physical than you would on digital for sure. But each site, Nintendo has a massive sale. PlayStation has a massive sale. As a matter of fact, PlayStation.
I think PS Plus had a sale too, right? It was on discount.
Yeah, it is. That's on discount as well. Spider-Man 2 is the cheapest it's ever been. I don't know what the price is, but it's super, super cheap if you missed out on Spider-Man 2. Yeah, it's gonna, yeah, that's why it's cheap.
By the way, is pretty normal for like CD Keys and Eneba. If you want, wait till it's like under 25. And there probably is going to be a time somewhere in the next like 5-6 weeks where it's going to be under 25 until like Christmas. So wait, like look for that deal. If it's under 25, snag it. Not that 28 to 25 is that big a difference, but
listen, it's still $4 though. I mean, it's it's $4 is $4, especially if you need to stack up 3 years worth. That starts to pay dividends. But look. I want to move into the fun part of the show, right? And obviously, we're going to go for another, give or take 30 minutes. This is going to be a short 90-minute show. I don't want to hold everybody because, obviously people might have, folks in the chat might have people over. It's holiday. I got to get up super early tomorrow. But I do want to have fun. And I want to have the fun conversation with the chat and Hargeet and Keasante and what we're thankful for. Because, just at surface level, look, I say this all the time. I'm not being facetious, folks, right? I love living a simplistic kind of a life. I say this, and you don't have to agree with me. It's fine. I'm happy just to get up in the morning, and the rest of the day for me is a bonus. Right, that's as simplistic as that may be. I got up this morning, and the rest of the day for me is a bonus. If that doesn't work for you, I hear you. But there is a lot to get excited about in the future of gaming. If you are specifically an Xbox fan, there is a lot to be thankful for this year. There's going to be a lot to be thankful for next year. They look to have a stacked deck. And I did a small video about specifically the stacked deck and Fable being at the end of the year. A lot of people seem to think that because the deck is so stacked that they might move Fable out of 25 into 26. I hope not. That game has been cooking for a long time. I don't know if they would move it out, but I do want to just say, what are you thankful for, chat? Throw it in there. We'll read them out as they pop in for gaming. I mean, if you want to throw life in there, that's fine. We don't shy away from being thankful for life, but what are you thankful for gaming? Hargeet, let's go to you first, man.
Yeah, well, this has been an interesting year. As far as thankful, I guess I'm thankful we had a lot of games that are showing up from the Japanese side now.
Yes.
As mega hits. It seems to be like that for a bit, but at least we were getting a lot of like Western hits like in the last few years, and now it's just been crazy. But like 2 years ago we had Elden Ring, that was the big game, and Baldur's Gate 3, right? And that's a Western game, and that seems to be the big game. And this year it's like it's basically almost all Japanese in the top categories, right? It's Final Fantasy, it's Metaphor, it's Astro, right? It's Elden Ring again, right? It just goes on like so. It's been a pretty heavy Japanese year, and I like that. What I'm also seeing, and I'm pretty sure this is the year we got Tales of Kinzera.
Yes,
right? And
game that nobody played. What a shame.
Right, yeah, and then we got Unknown 9. Unfortunately, that game wasn't as good, but we're starting to see games that are representing different things. We saw South of Midnight showing you a different world, right? Just kind of giving you a different flair, right? I'm starting to like that. I'm like seeing the potential. Now, they have to land. They have to land. Tales was good. Tales of Kinzera was good. Unfortunately, it got labeled with all the DEI crap, and it sort of died. I wish it hadn't, but it was pretty good. Unknown 9 was terrible, but it is what it is. And I don't know where South of Midnight goes, right? But there's more of those coming along, and that's cool. I want to see a lot more of that, right? So we're starting to finally get that. Different regions, different stories, different mythologies. That's awesome. So I'm thankful that's finally like happening. There's traction there. What else? Like, I mean, there's something to not be thankful for is where PlayStation has been going. Thankfully they're still around, and thankfully they still keep kind of increasing revenue, which is good, right? That keeps happening. That's awesome. But they are definitely treading water. So like it is thankful that they are actually still increasing volume. They keep selling their consoles. That's awesome. That's a good thing. I'm thankful Xbox, it worked, right? The ABK thing worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
Yeah,
everything they wanted from that, it worked. Now, will they sell more consoles? We'll see. But that wasn't their goal. Their goal was more subs, expand Call of Duty, expand revenue, expand profit. It's all working. It's working, right? And the way you can tell it's working, Satya Nadella and Amy Hood were giddy telling you what happened with Call of Duty.
There you go.
Giddy telling you what happened with Call of Duty. It worked. It worked. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, this has also been a somber year, just like the year before, where a lot of layoffs, a lot of closures. Unfortunate. I'm also thankful after all the crap and mess that GSC GameWorks went through. Stalker's out.
Yep.
And the game is generally good. It's buggy, sure. It's got issues, performance issues, but it's out. It's out, and people who can muddle through the issues seem to like the game itself, unless you're not a Stalker fan, right? If it's not your genre, that's fine. I get it, right? But for those who like Stalker, it's hitting. So another thing to be thankful for, that studio certainly went through enough hell, and they finally get their game out. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of too many other things. The community has been getting splintered, but I think we're all kind of coming out of the negativity thing and kind of accepting, hey, things are changing. And I think that's also good. And I'm thankful that that's happening, right? There's still people who are naysaying, but it's waning. It's waning. There's a lot more positivity now. People are accepting that, hey, things are going to be different from now on. Even PlayStation's putting games on Switch, for Pete's sake. It's happening. And it's going to be different going forward. And it's okay. We can all accept that the world is going to be different. But we'll all be gaming. That's the point that's good, right? We
Yeah.
will all be gaming. So hopefully that's the direction things go. Hopefully there's more positivity, right? So I don't know. It's kind of my rambling.
No, I love it because there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, yeah, you know what? Thankful that Stalker 2 made it out. Again, you said it. Yes. Is it buggy? Do I have stick drift even though I don't have stick drift? Yes. Are they addressing it? Yes. That's going to get fixed. Is that game hard as hell? Oh my God, it is ridiculously hard. Pause. But you know, it's fine. I'm like, look, for me, the shocker of the year, what I'm thankful for is I got a chance to finally experience an Atlas game and not just be happy for other people playing it, because I like JRPGs. I have for years. One of my favorites of all time is Lost Odyssey, which is a shame that it didn't get a remake or a part 2. Blue Dragon's another one of my favorite games from the 360 yesteryear. And I've never been in, I tried Persona. I tried Persona 5. I bought the collector's edition for the PlayStation 4, and I'm like, yep, this is just not for me. After like the 4th train ride, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening here. And then Metaphor comes out, and I see Metaphor. I see it at one of the shows. I don't remember what show I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, that looks phenomenal. So I'm like, you know what? I got it for free. I got the biggest edition for free. I took my Microsoft points. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw it to the wind. This game I have to like this game. There's no way I can't like it. It's got like mech-like characters, and I'm a manga kind of a guy, right? Like some of the characters there, and again, folks, I know I'm old. You're not going to remember this anime. Guyver, the Bio Booster, the Bio Booster armor. The Guyver is one of my favorite freaking animes of all time. That's an OG right there. That's up there with like the Macross Robotech series, which a lot of people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. It's fine. But Metaphor is my game of the year so far. It's just what a game. You know what, for me, what I'm thankful for is I gave it a chance, because the gamer that I am in no way, shape, or form supposed to like Elden Ring. And somehow or another, I think it's like 12 or 13 days into that game. I beat every boss into the game except for the last MF, which I couldn't get because they took away your horse, and I had to run at that asshole, and I couldn't get him, and that's fine. But then, of course, a couple of years later, you get Metaphor, and it is just an astounding experience. And for someone like me that has never, like I said, I've never hated on Atlas. I've always appreciated what they've done, but from a distance. Like if people loved Persona 3 Remake or Reloaded, and that came out this year. A lot of people forget about that, right? That's another one that's probably going to be some people's game of the year because it was phenomenal. I always was happy for everyone enjoying themselves, but now I'm thankful that I got a chance. I took a chance with Metaphor, and that's lo and behold, just like Elden Ring, it's my freaking game of the year. I'm thankful for startup studios like Ponicle. The Vampire Survivors released Contra DLC and Castlevania DLC in 2024. And they were $3.75 each. I tell you this, Ponicle, I know you're not listening. Get this message to him. I want to give him a hug and $100. I just want to say, here, please take my money. I bought that game on every platform outside of PC because I'm not going to play it there unless maybe I play it on Steam. I just want to give him money because that is probably one of my favorite games in the last decade. It's just so freaking good. But you know what I'm thankful for more importantly than anything is the fact you folks, 505 people here on a Wednesday evening, the day before a major holiday, and we're hanging out. I take none of this for granted at all. I am thankful for the fact that an ex-police officer who knows and knew nothing about podcasting, thumbnail making, or producing shows is somehow, after 7 years, managed to garner 15,000 plus people to subscribe to our channel, and then on top of that, be blessed enough to get so much, given to us in the form of super chats and channel membership support, that we can give it back. And that to me, for me, that's the most thankful that I have is this community accepting, us of who we are, and then allowing us to have a show 5 days a week. I mean, that's crazy. Nothing is guaranteed in YouTube, and we made it. So that is ultimately what I'm most thankful for. Que Asante, let's get into what you're thankful for, dude.
I have to say, and this might sound a little cliche, but I do recall a time not too long ago when we were all lamenting the fact that all the games are going everywhere. And what will that mean ultimately? That'll mean the end of the community, I was told.
Yes.
Right? Oh, it won't be the same. We won't conjugate like we do as if this was EA or Ubisoft, right? We'd all become super apathetic on the whole situation. But I gotta tell you, at least in my squares, in my circles, the conversations have not been hotter as of late.
Yeah.
It won't stop. So I will say I'm thankful for the community. That no matter what's going on in my day, I can always just listening into the Discord and take my mind off of some of these conversations. But yes, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the fact that the indie space is still a place of experimentation.
Yes.
I love my AAA games. You'll find me playing those, and I enjoy them. But I'm always also looking out for that cool, interesting thing that a small creator, less money, more creativity puts together. So, and it looks like it's still flourishing. It's still very, very, very like hot and heavy out there right now. So yeah, those are what I'm thankful for, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
I mean, listen, folks, I'm going to see if anybody, I know there's been quite a few of them over here. Let me see if I can just pull them up, and then we're going to get the outros. Again, we're going to end the show a little bit early today because, again, we the big topic of the day was Shuhei. We said everything we had to say. The thankful part, I mean, we can, I don't want to drag anyone's heels, but Tent T Games says he's thankful for Game Pass, been able to introduce my daughter to gaming a lot more, and she's excited when she comes over and goes straight for her control. That's dope. I love that. That is fantastic. Look, it's family. That's what it's all about. And I hang out with Tyler on a regular basis, and we get a chance to play stuff like Mario Party Jamboree just came out. We stood in front of the TV for 3 hours. He beat me, of course, because that kid is good. But it's little things like that you should be thankful for. Fillmore Pocket says he's thankful for Day One Game Pass 2025. Avowed. Adam 4, Wu Chang, Doom, South of Midnight, Call of Duty, Frag Punk, Expedition 33, MLB The Show 25, Fable, FSB, Firebreak, Sniper Elite Resistance. I forgot about that. Internal Strands. I mean, yeah, listen, that's definitely something to be thankful for. Game Pass, it is worth its weight in gold. Let's see if I can find anybody else. Captain Crunch basically says, yes, there is a lot to be thankful for. And Fossil 924 says, thankful for Game Pass and choices. Absolutely, brother. There's no doubt about that. Choices are great. And Music 72, Boom versus Math. Math is always going to beat Boom. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. But listen, folks, King Style says, I'm thankful for being alive and enjoying time with my kids and, of course, gaming. And that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Awesome. That is fantastic. General Spartan 27 says, I'm thankful that indies have kept gaming as fun as it's ever been. Listen, a perfect example is Baltro. That's like that. Kay can speak to that. I tried it. It wasn't for me. And I have to go and try it because Kay is like, boom, I don't know what you like Vampire Survivors. I'm like, yeah, of course I love it. You got to play this game. I know it's two separate genres, but I gotta buy that game. I'm just gonna buy the game just to support the developer. Whether or not I play it, I'm gonna give it the old college effort. Boss Mod Lethal Papa, our mod extraordinaire, says he's thankful he doesn't have a pro. Well, thankfully, that $700+ is still in your bank account, brother. So look,
I tried not to be snarky.
yeah,
I could say things about that. I'm thankful I was able to snag the entire 30th anniversary collection to make some ponies pay.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're making your money,
but
brother.
that's snarky. I don't want to do all that. I'd like
good for
to give
you.
up good vibes. Good vibes.
No, well, good, listen, good for you for having a hot trigger finger because you got everything, and people that stuff is selling for some of the prices is just wow. But you know what? Look, I'll say this. Good on PlayStation for putting that out. That was pretty dope. A whole collection of the 30th anniversary. That's something to be celebrated for sure. 30 years of anything is a really big deal.
Maybe we should just be thankful about that. 30 years of PlayStation. What are we up to for Nintendo, right? And we're coming up to what, the 25th in a couple of years.
25th next year. 26th.
Xbox,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, we should just be thankful we have an industry that's thriving. It's still, a lot of games coming out all the time, right? And it's hitting a limit, right? And there are a lot of layoffs, but hey, we're still getting a ton of games.
Indeed, we all are. Doesn't matter what console you have or you support everything. The Ruham, good friend of the show, says, I'm especially thankful that despite the rhetoric and console warring on both sides, he's not wrong, gamers had their fun playing the games that they want to play. And that's really what it comes down to. Yes, have fun playing the games. Now, look, before we do the outros, and it's going to be a short one, I want to end it with this. Folks, look. If this is the last thing you remember from this podcast and it saves your life and potentially somebody else's, keep this in the back of your mind. Thanksgiving is an amazing time of year for friends, for family, for food and drink. And where I'm going with this is that as a police officer or now a former New York City police officer, it is the worst year. I mean, it's the worst time of the year for DWIs. It is. People eat, people are having a good time, and they're drinking. If you're going to drink, folks, please, for the love of Joe, drink responsibly. The holidays are just starting. The last thing you want to do is end your own life, but worse than that is hurt someone else. Because ultimately, in most of the DWIs wrecks that I've been to as a cop, not only are they horrific, but the drunk lives. It's the family of 6 coming home from grandma's that what gets wiped out. And that happens more often than you could possibly imagine. And I've been at those scenes, folks, and you do not want to be that person that did that. Because not only did you ruin your own life and your family's life, but you ruined someone else's. And I know that that's not the way you wanted the show to end, but I feel responsible, even though I'm not wearing a uniform anymore, to say something like that. That again, if this is what you remember before you pick up the keys, like, oh man, boom, that asshole. All I want to do is have fun. He's talking about don't drink and drive, and you don't do it, then I did my job as a retired cop, and I saved someone's life, probably yours. But we're going to end it there. I want to make sure we're caught up on all super chats, and we are. So thank you so much for all the super chats and the continued channel memberships. Let's get everyone out of here so you can enjoy your holiday weekend. Of course, go play whatever you're going to play. I'm going to get right on to Call of Duty because I'll be on later tonight. And of course, Nino, if you're going to be on, let's the party is always going to be open and you can just jump in. Target China, let's sell your book. Let's sell your YouTube channel where they can subscribe to that, where they could purchase your book. And of course, what other shows you have going on for the remainder of the week?
Yeah. So, I believe we're still going to keep doing our shows. So, the next one up should be, with C Money and Doodle on Friday, night shift, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, on Point for Gamers. Check that out. And then we'll do GameStop Live on Fawn's Gaming's channel, 6 p.m. on Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Check that out. And then 7 p.m. we'll be back with Web Dave on Web Dave's channel. Nice. So check that out at 7 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah, and my channel, Chani1. If you want to buy my book, shop.chani.us. Great time to read something when you're sitting around family.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, especially if you like Mass Effect, read Emergence, folks. You'll thank me later. Que Asante, brother, let's sell the brand, because Saturday's around the corner. Obviously, you'll be hopefully fully recovered by then. The Gaming Circle podcast, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday mornings with you and Everborn Saga. Where could people subscribe? Check that out, and more importantly, follow you on social media.
Well, once again, I have to say thank you to all the folks who always join us on this Wednesday pod. Always love having the hangout and hearing all the great takes in the chat. This weekend, myself and Mr. Everborn Saga will be hosting a returning champion who you also know of, Ty Talks.
Okay, very nice.
He'll be with us hanging out for the conversation on the Saturday. So come check us out. TKO Asante, as it's spelled, on all the platforms, and of course, my brother and I do that Gaming Circle podcast on Saturday morning. So check us out on the socials and interact. This is what we do here. Have a good time. It's great.
Indeed. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Again, shorter show. It's the holiday show. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation enough to hit the like button. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. We're on the hunt for 16K, ladies and gentlemen, and we're about 600 and change away, and you can help us get there, which would be awesome to get that. And any goal over what you currently have is a win. And we continue to, gain subs. And we're doing it the mom and pop way, right? The grassroots way. We're doing our shows. We're doing videos. We're working with some advertisement behind the scenes. Again, if you like what you hear, hit the like button. If you really enjoy it and you want to share it on social media, please do that. And of course, have an amazing Thanksgiving with your friends, your family, and your
happy
loved ones.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. I worked out a lot this week, and I'm going to eat like I'm going to the chair tomorrow, and I'm not going to be sorry about it. I cannot wait. I love this time of year because I like to eat.
Get this one day to cheat, right?
Oh man,
one
whatever.
Day to cheat like hell.
Listen, I'll work out like crazy on Friday, but I'll come back to the table because I usually do Thanksgiving a couple of days. Mrs. Boom was like, one more day and I'm done with it. I go 3 or 4 days. As long as it's turkey, I'm eating it. But thank you, folks, for being here. Have an amazing Thanksgiving. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day, folks, it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.